Hello there, and welcome to yet another offering in the series In Conversation. I'm Emeka Madnago. My guest today is a Nigerian playwright, poet, dancer, journalist, and actor with an enviable cabinet of trophies for a writer of his generation. He's a dramatist with an original voice on stage, but his genius has found him doing exploits on screen as a documentary filmmaker and television journalist. In 2022, he won the Nigeria Media Merit Award TV Production of the Year after receiving nominations for Best Reporter of the Year for 2018, 2019, and 2020. He's a two-time Trek Africa TV Reporter of the Year for 2019 and 2020. He is one of the recipients of the 2021 Royal African Award by His Imperial Majesty, the Ooni of Ife, Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja II, and he received honorable mention at the 2023 Diamond Award for Media Excellence. He is the executive producer of Abibatu Mogaji, the play, a dramatic mirror on the life and times of the mother of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigeria's president. It is our joy today to share the moment with Ola Awako. That's in a bit. Hello, Ola Awako. You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure is mine.
Looking at you, you seem so relaxed. Is that what being in the literary world do to you?
Well, the literary world makes me relax because that's where I live in, that's where I feed from, and that's where I do everything that makes me a human being, because I believe so much in creativity. And people ask me, how do I create time to do these things, even with my busy schedule as a journalist?
Yes, because I was about to go there. You know, as a journalist, you know, you have time for all this.
It's passion.
Yeah.
You know, you create time for what you love. And I can sleep and wake up. I pick up my pen to write. It could be a poem. It could be a dialogue. It could be monologue. It could be anything. So I leave it. I'm always relaxed when I'm in the creative atmosphere.
So what moves you to pick up your drum? For instance, can you pick up your drum around 2 a.m. and start?
Well, if the inspiration says I should, if muse comes and says pick up your drum and the idea comes, I can pick up the drum. But I don't need to pick up a drum 2 a.m. because...
what if the spirit summon you at 2 a.m. to start drumming? Like, you see, before we dive into your book, Echoes of the Drums, you know, the drums, you know, so powerful, the influence so powerful.
Yes.
And then, you know, just trying to tie it, you know, what if the urge...
Then I respond.
You respond?
Yeah, it's spontaneous.
Yes. Okay.
I respond to it. When it comes, I have to respond to it. Even if I need to make a little adjustment to that, creative flow.
Okay.
But at the moment, I just have to respond to it. Then later I'll go back and look at it again.
So when you say echoes of the drums, you know, what are the drums echoing? Because, you know, drums are usually loud. But when they start echoing, what are they saying in the echoes?
Not all drums are loud.
Why?
Not all drums are loud.
Why? Purposely?
Yes, purposely. Some drums are solemn. If you say loud, not all drums are loud. Some drums are played to, drums are played to even create edge at times.
Yeah.
So such drums are not loud. But when drums are loud in terms of the literary sense of the reading, then it depends on the message behind the drums. But for echoes of the drums, the loudness of the drums in this speak peace. The loudness of the drums speak unity. The loudness of the drums speak cultural appraisal. The loudness of the drums speak, unity in diversity. So that's what I use the loudness of the drums and echoes of the drums to preach.
No, but there's somewhere where the loudness of the drums also save the woman in labor.
Yes, that's the loudness of the drum. So echoes of the drums in its entirety is a celebration of the power and the potency of drums.
Oh, drums, okay.
And the setting of the play is actually in the clan of drummers, where everything they believe in, everything they live in, what they worship is the drum. They worship the drum. So it is believed in that scenario that whenever anyone from that clan wants to give birth, it is the echoes from the drums that ushers the baby out, especially from that particular clan. Agbuleayon, which happens the head of the clan, is Abayon.
Okay.
Is the head of the clan.
Okay.
So for a very long, the family has not been able to give birth for a long time. So at the point, the play begins from when the wife is about to give birth, and it's required that the devotees in that clan are to play rhythms, to produce sounds that will be rhythmic to enhance the birth, the delivery, to enhance the delivery. So, but along the line, one of the devotees, you always have Judas.
Yes, I was coming to that. Drama too.
Drama too. Yes, believes, we should have been bigger and better than this. We've been doing this for ages. Why we just continue to drum and drum and drum? But the thing is, they're supposed to produce rhythms, coordinated rhythms for the babies or the baby to be able to come out. But any obstruction in the middle can actually obstruct the delivery. So the Abayon was coming out to say, please, was begging them to, please, this is all I have. Probably this is the only chance for my wife to, give birth. And if anything happens, he may not have that time. There may be no time, on our side again to, give birth. Just help me play the rhythm. So at a point, the drummer too had to leave, angrily that, no, I can't be part of this any longer. So Abayon had to join, to fill in that vacuum, to play the rhythm for the delivery to be safe. So
was that not more like an attempt at survival, a desperate attempt at survival? For Abayon to have picked the drum.
Yes, because this is you are expecting, just like you've been married for like maybe 10, 15, 20 years, and now you have your wife is heavy and point of delivery, and there's just one thing that needs to be done for everything to work out fine, and somebody is obstructing it. Won't you, if you have the chance to go there to fill in the vacuum to make it happen, you will go, because you're desperate about, yes, I want to see my children, I want, to see them, the babies that will come forth and, take up these trade or this occupation that we do in this clan, which has to do with drumming.
Yeah, I see that in some places, not just, I see that, in the encounter between them, and the Bush Baby.
Yes.
Where Shango comes in.
Yes.
And of course, it's like they had to take their destiny in their hands.
Okay. So the plot.
How do you tie that from before, just as about they were to be born?
Yes.
And when they are returned, how do you tie that?
Okay, the storyline is after the delivery.
Yes.
Eventually, the mother died. Faith has it that way,
But that's what Drummer 2 wanted.
Well,
because he said
the mother's death.
He said, I do not care if she dies.
Not just the mother's death, but even for the babies not to come alive. There are people like that. Wow. Not just because if the mother dies, the coordinated rhythm would actually make the delivery to be smooth. Do you understand? So if the drums were not played in such a coordinated platform, maybe the delivery wouldn't have been, that good. But after the delivery, the mother died, But in the course of the babies growing up, it is believed that when they grow up, for them to get to that level of manhood, for them to know that, yes, we are now men, we are brave. They need to go on, a voyage, of adventure, of pleasure, and of treasure. So it's that voyage. When they go on that voyage and they return, then they now, it's believed that they are now men, they are real men. So, but the father took out time to put them through the rudiments of them producing coordinated readings themselves, because they now come out as triplets. They come out as triplets, and the triplets are Nyonlade, Olude, and Awogbola. Now, they are so symbolic. Their father gave them 3 drums, Gongon, Omele, and Bata, for them to hold on to as their symbol of survival. So, but for them to survive together, they have to always play coordinated rhythms with these 3 drums at all times for them to survive collectively. So it's in the process of, teaching them. They say, okay, look, you have to go on this voyage. And they too, they're actually eager to go on the voyage. That, look, Father, you've taught us survival. Let us go and experiment the survival that you've taught us. Let us go on this voyage, and with your blessing, we'll come back to the village, safe and with all the necessary things that you want us to bring back. So we went on that voyage, but along the line, as humans, there will always be friction. So they had friction, and they went there.
And they almost paid for it.
But yes, they went their separate ways eventually. But in going their separate ways, the 3 of them encountered difficulties, and they couldn't help but come back together one way or the other. Because so one of them who happened to play the bata, in the course of playing that bata, Shango heard the sound of bata, because bata is connected to Shango. Heard the sound of that bata and came to his rescue. And another beautiful thing about this play is that the 3 characters, the triplets, they have super powers. Because what I want to build in this is to create them as superheroes. There's still going to be the animation, version of the play, and so I'm creating them as superheroes. There's one of the triplets who has who can recall what happened, their pre-birth experience. Pre-birth experience, when they were still in the spiritual realm, what happened, the conversation with Eledumare and all that. So he could recall. Then there's another among the triplets who can see, who can interact with the spirits. So he actually has spirit friends that guides him. It's just like we now, if you are connected to, if you are so spiritual, we understand that a voice speaks to you. Do this, don't do that. So he has his friends, like 2 of them or 3, that he speaks to whenever he's confused. He asks them questions. He's the only one that sees those friends. Then the third has a semblance of you will just see shadows. You just have an idea of, okay, I can see shadow. So the 3 of them, they have their they have their supernatural powers that helps them to survive. So when they came together, they were able to surmount the challenges that they faced. And that brings us to the theme, the thematic preoccupation of unity in diversity, the thematic preoccupation of peace and unity, basically.
Yeah, so just tell us, because this place rooted in Yoruba culture and tradition. So tell us the power of drums in Yoruba culture. How, tell us, what's the power of drums, as it relates to Yoruba culture and tradition?
The power of drums,
and if you can also tell us about these different drums,
cannot be overemphasized.
Yeah.
Beyond the Yoruba culture, drums play a pivotal role in human existence. And basically in the African society, drums are very, very powerful. If you go deeply into the play, we discover that I try to portray the significance of drums for survival, significance of drums to there's a particular character at Atonda who was at the verge of committing suicide. It was the drums, the coordinated rhythms, that helped him. So it helps also to cure depression.
Drums, I see it here. Yes, Abayo said it.
Yes, can be used to cure depression.
Yes.
It can be used as a form of exercise. It can be. It has a therapeutic function.
Yeah, you will burn calories.
So there's a whole lot that the drums, but most especially when it has to do with its culture. That has to do with culture. It plays a very strong role. There are some part of the society that uses it for, occultic reasons. There are some drums that ordinary people cannot just play the drums. It has to be people who have been initiated. There are some drums that are used for initiation. There are some drums that are used for entertainment. There are some drums that are used for. So there are different, drums for different purposes. But the ones we know are the drums that are used for entertainment. You play them, you dance, you sing, so they have their different functions, and all these we need to continue to push for to amplify their significance in the society so that it doesn't go into extinct. And that's why we are using this as a platform to say how many of our children can play drums. I can pick up the batana and play it. Some drums speak, like gongon, for instance. You don't have to say anything out. When you play gongon, if somebody who understands the language of the drums will know that this is what you're saying, you can use it to communicate. And that's what we are pushing with the drum. There's a coinage I made that's called drumunication.
Yes.
Drumunication.
Yes.
Because in the play, there is a foundation that is created in the play. Drum to cure foundation.
Yeah, drum to cure.
As a result of the Abayon using his drums to cure Atonda from depression, bringing him back to life. So there's somebody from the city who came to the village who saw that power of the drum and said, look, you can't just keep, celebrating drums in your closet. Let us take it global. I'm going to help you create a foundation around it, and we'll use that foundation to sell to the world the power of the drum. So we now created what I call Drum to Cure Foundation, which by the grace of God, we are bringing it to life, from the play to life itself, to push the significance of drums.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's one thing to play the drums. It's another thing for people, for the drums to summon the creative force, in people, to summon that response. Where do you now find the dissonance between the two? Because you talked about unity. Now, if the drum, doesn't summon that creative force, how can the people be united?
Well, it has to do with, number one, self-discipline. It has to do with our understanding of that force that is, that force around the drums. Now, it is literary. If we look deeply into how the encounters of the triplets in their voyage, during their voyage, you discover that if they had staged away, if they had believed that, okay, individually we will survive, probably none of them would have returned back to the village. Returned back to for the celebration of their return and all that. But if we look at that and the outcome of how they were able to create coordinated rhythm and them returning back to the village, we will know that the drum can be seen beyond its physical realm. When you play it, even for you, if you are probably having a discourse, maybe you are at a party or a function and the drummers are playing, and you know that there's a disconnect, you will feel it in your soul. Probably you're dancing, and one of the elements of the drums, plays off tune. You will know that there's something that is happening in your body. So it's the same thing that applies to our existence as a people. Okay. When you know that there's this unity, you will feel it within yourself that there's this unity, and you are disconnected from, the real sense of the real sense of reality. So that's just how it applies to it.
Let's escalate it to the Nigerian stage. How do you apply this to Nigeria? And what would you say from this to Nigerians?
The theme of unity in diversity. Now, some people, some analogies, a school of thought, while doing their review of the play, says it covers the triplets, cover Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. And the Igbo. And I say, well, Wazobia. You can take it beyond that, but they are triplets. And in Nigeria, take it or leave it, these are the three major tribes, and we celebrate Wazobia a lot. Although we have over 250 to 300 tribes, but we celebrate the triplet. So the unity that helped them to survive is what I try to preach in the national, that national sense of it. Without that coordination, if as a people in Nigeria, let's say Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo, if we don't speak in one language, which is the language of the drums, in this sense, then we will be divided. And if we are divided, there will be infiltration from other quarters. And when the infiltration comes in, our division can cause us doom eventually. So what I'm preaching with the play is that let's continue to, yes, even the triplets that were born from the same mother, they have friction. Let alone those of us that were born from different, we have different biological, backgrounds and all that. So definitely there will be friction, there will be misunderstanding, there will be, but in our misunderstanding, because we are from a father, that is the Abayon in this sense, and that father is, in quotes, Nigeria. So that father has the responsibility to make us believe that we need to create coordinated rhythms, coordinated dialogue, coordinated sense of belonging for ourselves, for us to exist for life as a society. So the theme of peace and unity is sacrosanct with this play. Also, there's theme of ecotourism, because in the course of their voyage, there is one of them who actually has knowledge of the power of herbs, the power of leaves for survival and all that. So they're able to see a whole lot to teach about what leaves can do, what roots can do, what all this can do. So it's very, very important that we imbibe that spirit of coordination for us to survive as a people.
So who are your influences in the literary world?
Well, I pick inspiration from quite a number of literary giants. Looking at from an aspect of me that talks about my poetry aspect, Professor Niyi Oshundare, pick inspiration from him. Then also I pick inspiration from Professor Wole Soyinka. So then I try to also create a niche for myself. After I have done this, pick from here. Now creating a niche for myself, because I don't want to be called Professor Niyi Oshundare. I don't want to be called Professor Wole Soyinka. I want to be called Ola Awakan. So that when others are also coming up, they will say, I pick inspiration from Ola Awakan. So I've created a niche for myself with my own style to be able to, sell my message to the society.
So where do you expect this book to go to? Because Ben Tomology says you've done the premiere at Mission Center, and he had some very nice words to say, even Babajide Kolade Otitoju. So where do you expect this play? How far do you expect it to go to? Have you translated it into more languages than English? And do you intend to take it on a nationwide tour, a global tour, or what?
Well, the play was actually written in 2005.
Okay.
It won a prize in 2015. It was premiered by the National Troupe of Nigeria in 2022 for Nigeria's independence, 62nd independence. And an excerpt of it was first staged by the Guild of Theatre Art Drummers. An excerpt, that's just the prologue. That was in 2021, before it was, the full text was premiered in 2022. Then after that, we did another premiere, another production in 2024 at the World Drummers Day in Abuja. So, but what we try to push with this, which we are still, you know, having discussions with Brazil, for instance, with Jamaica, with the UK, is what I call global drummunication tour.
Okay.
That's what we're pushing with this play. Because we know that the power of drums is not restricted to a particular society. You know, it's a global phenomenon.
Yes.
And with that sense, the Brazilians are saying that we should bring it over to Brazil. And we are doing collaboration with the society, the Brazilian society, to see how we can make some of our actors with their actors. You know, they have affiliation with us as a people. So we are doing it there. Even there is a UK-based Jamaican actress who has seen the play, and she brought up an idea that they have a very strong drum culture in Jamaica. You know, and we want to also have a collaboration by taking it on a tour. So the global drummunication tour is something that has to do with us picking performers from 2, 3, 4, 5 performers who are actually drummers, because this play is a drum drama, first of its kind, and all the performers are drummers. So this is a play that gives voice to drummers. Rather than having a performance, a total performance, and you put the drummers by the side as orchestra, now these are drummers coming to do their thing themselves. Not actors acting what drummers should be doing. So all the actors in the play are professional drummers. That was why we wanted to do it in Abuja. We had to sit with the Guild of Theatre Art Drummers. They were the ones that coordinated the drums, so the readings and everything, was done by the Guild of Theatre Art Drummers. So it's a whole lot that has to do with drums in the play. So we intend to take it to, for now, the Lagos State University. They have they are going to stage it for the students. So they've bought copies. Olabisi Onabanjo University, that happens to be my alma mater. They are also recommending it for their students. They from Ife, I think the cultural institutes there, they are actually staging it for, I think they're having Yongalu Festival or something like that. So this is the play text that they are using for the festival. So and we are extending it to as many, individuals as possible, because it's a play that should not be restricted to a particular section of the society. It's relevant to everybody. It's not rated 18. Children can pick it up and go through it. Adults can go through it. Youth can go through it. It helps us to bring back our cultural, significance. It helps us to renew our value system, to connect us to the roots. Because all of us, if you go back to your roots, there is a drum that is connected to you. And that's why I'm working on a sequel on this. There's a drum from the East, that I'm going to do a sequel on, and some of these characters are going to be, merged with the characters from the East. So I'm also doing a sequel with it. But what I want to do is to make sure that the 3 characters, just like saying Superman, Spider-Man, and Batman, so those 3 characters are going to be featured in the sequel.
Okay.
You understand? But in that regard, we are going to pick on drums from the East and use the drums from the East. But those characters will be. So I want to do sequel to it, and by the time we're now creating into maybe animation, into this. So Anyolade, Olude, and Awogbola will be like Superman, Spider-Man with their own, Batman with their own attributes and their superpowers.
Yeah, just before we round off, tell us about Abibatu Mogaji, the play. It's the boss right now.
Yes, Abibatu Mogaji is the boss. It was a project I started in December last year. And actually, the reason for the project is to immortalize Alhaja Abibatu Mogaji because of her contributions to the Nigerian polity. You cannot talk about the exploit of Mr. President without referring to his mother, because the mother played a pivotal role in his existence and his survival and him becoming who he is now. The first 1+1 that he learned, he actually learned it from his mother, because he was the first secretary, like the first secretary of his mother, and he was always following his mother to the market to take stock of the goods, the produce and all that. So he learned all those from his mother. And then looking at what she contributed in terms of trade development in Nigeria, in terms of the political, her political contribution, contribution to the political setting of this country during her lifetime, because she did a lot, for the sage, Obafemi Awolowo during her time. Away from that, her contributions to humanity, because during my research, I discovered that the people I interviewed made me realize that she made them what they are today. There was a woman from the East that I interviewed, and she told me that Mama Abibatu Mogaji was the one who converted her from being a Christian to a Muslim. And how did it happen? Anytime you're with Mama during her lifetime, you must pray with her. If you happen to be around her, you must pray 5 times with her. And when you pray 5 times, she pays you 5 times.
Oh, really?
When you pray the first time, when you're done praying, she gives you something.
Wow.
When you pray second time, she gives you something. When you pray third, so that kind of a thing will bring. You are not, number one, is doing you. She's the one doing you good. She's connecting you more to your maker.
An older person.
You understand? She's connecting you to your maker. Away from that, she's also economically, empowering you economically. So many people came around her, and the prayer she also offered, the way she was so close to God for her son, for Mr. President, also played a major role. So when we did the premiere in Abuja, I presented the frame to him. When the mother praying for him, there's a picture, so I made it into a big frame, and I tagged it "Mother's Prayer," which has actually led him to where he is today. So she did a whole lot to the development of the society in her own quarter. So we're bringing the story back, and what I'm doing with that is to start up a series that I call Tales of Legend. So we're going to be picking legends one at a time to look at their exploit, because if we don't inspire this generation, they can expire. They not that they can, they will expire.
They will.
Because what has kept us this far has been the inspiration we got from our forefathers. And we need to keep that going. So we are using a story to do what we call women advocacy. And the person who actually wrote it is Professor Ahmed Yerima. I commissioned him to write it. And because of his track record in terms of the plays he has written for women, he has a strong knack. He has a knack for women advocacy and women empowerment and all that. We said no, he can also do justice to this. And I'm the executive producer, and we've done the Abuja production where Mr. President, saw it, and Mr. President, Vice President, Senate President, and all, the powerful men were there to see it, including Dangote was there to see it. Then we did another production for the public in Abuja. Then we came to Lagos to do another production where the Mr. Governor was there to see it, Yaloja and all the like. So it's just to say this woman did a lot. In fact, another thing that we try to preach with the play is mentorship. Not too many youth of today wants to be mentored. And before she became the Yaloja General of Nigeria, she also learned from somebody. That's Mama Kwele Wura. So she was also mentored by somebody. So there's a whole lot that we are trying to preach with the play, with the power of live theater.
Yeah, just a quick one. You appear to have different irons in the fire. Who is Ola Awakom? Tell us about yourself, your wife, your children.
Well,
how do you combine all of this with family life?
I'll use one word to explain this. And that word, you can't find it in the dictionary anyway. It's my coinage.
Okay.
It's passion-sistency.
Okay. That's a new one, passion-sistency.
Passion-sistency is my word.
Yeah.
And number one thing is passion. I started as a visual artist in primary school. I grew up in a place called Ajegunle, slum in Lagos. And
AJ City.
Is
a city.
AJ City. AJ City. And I was 5 months old when my grandparents, my paternal grandparents took me from my parents. I was 5 months old because my father happened to be the only surviving of their children. So I was taken 5 months. I started living with my grandparents. So I grew up to see my grandfather as my father. And my grandfather was a cobbler. I was a cobbler, ex-serviceman who became a cobbler. So he was always using leather to create. As I speak with you, I can make shoes, I can make palm, I can make belts, I can make anything with, animal skin. So he was a cobbler. So that's an aspect of creativity. And my grandmother happened to be, a hair maker, hairstylist. Yeah. So the traditional hairstylist. So as I speak with you, I can weave hair. So I think that's my first point of developing my creative juice. I grew up to see these things, and I started admiring creativity in that line. And my father happens to be retired as a senior superintendent of press. That's journalism. My mother was actually a professional photographer. That's photojournalism. Wow. So this is my world.
Okay.
I went to the university to study mass communication. I did mass communication from Olabisi Onabanjo University, my first degree. But as a mass communication student, my second department was performing arts under the tutelage of the late Baba Charles Shomade and Uncle B, Bayo Oduneye, were the ones who tutored me in the theater. But, I started drawing when I was in primary school. I can draw, I can paint. I was the best fine art student in secondary school. I joined Cultural and Dramatic Society in secondary school. So all these form who Ola Awakon is. So I call myself a journalistespian because I'm a journalist.
Another coinage.
That's another coinage, a journalistespian.
Okay, yeah, you did tell us about your wife and children.
Yes, my wife, Omolola Bukola Ola Awakon. She's a sociologist. She's a Dubai-trained perfumer. She has 2 kids for me for now. I'm still looking forward to a twin anyway.
So the drums are still beating.
The drums are still beating so strongly. My first daughter is Araola Oluwa. Okay. And she's just 6. She's left-handed. Okay. My father is also left-handed anyway. So I loved left-handed.
Wow. This family connection is so strong.
And my second child, Kurisola, is just 2, and we are doing very, very, very well.
Okay.
I'm trying to also make them see the power of creativity
and the power of the word,
and the power of the word, the power of the drums and all that. So I'm introducing them to what I believe in and what my wife also believes in. So we're trying to build a big, happy family.
One big, happy family. That's what we are as human beings. That's the message from our guests, Ola Awakon. You may like our pages and subscribe to us. We are Enterprise TV 7 on all social media platforms. And our website is www.enterprisetvnews.com. Till we come your way again on In Conversation, I am Emeka Madnago. Thank you for watching.
Do you want to see my proteges? You want to have a feel of my offspring? You want to see my children who are actually dishing out readings? Come to the land of echoes of the drum.